Ready to dominate at the plate? Blast Baseball is trusted by more major league and college teams than any other hitting solution. The Blast sensor attaches to the knob of any bat, providing real-time feedback with every swing. Go to blastmotion.com and enter code NOWD1 at checkout to save $25. All right, everybody, it is 9 o'clock. Let's get right into it. We do this show every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on X Spaces. I'm Alan Gay, and this is Now D1 Speaks. We got a great show tonight. It's a show that I've really been looking forward to. We've got a college coach with us. We've got Coach Goulding. He is the head coach at the College of San Mateo. Hey, Coach, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can absolutely hear you, and can't thank you enough for just taking a little bit of time out of your day and evening just to spend with us. Absolutely appreciate it. You know what? Before we really get into it, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself just a little bit and give us some background as to maybe where you played and how you got into coaching?
Yeah, so I grew up around coaches and baseball, obviously. My dad was a longtime coach. He spent most of his time at James Logan High School in the East Bay, Union City. And so, yeah, I was that little guy running around with the helmet backwards when I was 3 years old and all that kind of good stuff and dragging the fungo around. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of where I started wanting to coach, was at a really young age. And so I actually grew up in Tracy and went to West High School out there, and then I came to College of San Mateo to play. That was back in 2010, 2011. And kind of a funny connection there. The head coach at the time, Doug Williams, who's still with us now as associate head coach, he played for my dad in the 80s on a San Mateo Legion team for a couple of summers. And so that was a connection here. And then I transferred out to, at the time, University of Texas Pan American. They're now UT RGV, Rio Grande Valley. Finished up playing there and graduated in December of 13 and got right into coaching right in January of 14. I had an opportunity to get into grad school and help out at Cal State Northridge for Greg Moore was the head coach then, and ended up spending 6 years down there. And summer of 19, we picked up our act and brought it up to St. Mary's College, where I spent 2 years. And then summer of 21, I came back to CSM and was the associate head coach for 2 years. And then just this summer, Coach Williams and I switched roles. And so now I'm now the head coach and he's the associate head coach. And so yeah, that's kind of the quick version and my stops along the way. So.
Well, that's a great quick version. Thank you for kind of going through that background. I absolutely appreciate it. It gives us a better sense of who you are. And what a connection to College of San Mateo, CSM. Yeah. Remarkable to think that your dad, coached the coach that you played for. I think that's pretty cool. And then for you to be a player and now to be a coach, what a special time. And I want to get into that in just a moment. But kind of give us an idea in your playing career while you were playing. Hey, man, what positions did you play? And also kind of give us just what it was that really led you originally to CSM. Was it your dad or was it something else?
Yeah, so I was an infielder pretty much my whole life growing up. I played mostly second base because I couldn't make the throw across the diamond until like my junior year of high school. And it started to, grow a little bit, get bigger and stronger, and started to gain some arm strength. And so through college, I played my freshman and junior years, I played mostly second and third. And then my sophomore and senior years, I played shortstop pretty much exclusively. And so, coming out of high school, had some opportunities to some D2 schools and some Division I walk-on stuff that was kind of in the works. And so, I thought just at that time with, my strength and or lack of strength and size at coming out of high school, that I thought junior college would be, the best route. And then it became looking into, what was the best place to go. And, there were some very good options near home, some places I could have stayed home, but I really wanted to get away and get out of the house and meet new people and get a different kind of experience. And so, my dad mentioned, hey, I know this guy over at CSM pretty well. He played for me and things. And so we came over and checked it out. And, I just absolutely loved the campus and the area, being, just south of San Francisco and being a big Giants fan and stuff. That was kind of cool. And I thought, this would be a really cool place to go. And they've had a ton of success. And that was something that I was looking for. And so, with, help from my parents with footing the bill on the rent a little bit, which was awesome. I got to come out here and go to CSM for 2 years. So it was an awesome decision. Obviously coming back here as a coach now, it's a place that I've loved for a long time.
I bet it is, man. That is so cool. So how has that experience being a player really kind of affected the way that maybe you're coaching today back at your stomping grounds?
Yeah, sure. It's fun. Every once in a while, we had a lot of success when I was a player here. And, a lot of our guys now they'll want to know about that. And I think that's really cool to just kind of be able to bridge that gap and say, hey, here's some of the things that I noticed as a player that we were doing, that we can do now. And, kind of painting that picture and doing some storytelling at times, I think is fun. But also just understanding the day-to-day life of these guys. I know, exactly what they're going through. And that's really fun because I'm able to connect with them in that way and build those relationships even tighter, that, we've been through it together. And I did it now about a dozen years ago, and they're going through it now. And so it's that's the part I think the most is being able to have those common experiences with our guys having gone through it.
Absolutely. And I bet the players love it too and really appreciate it because they know what you're talking about. You absolutely experienced as well. And so that they got to appreciate that piece from you. Let me ask you now, that was certainly your experience having been a player there, but having been a coach at the Division I level for numerous years, how is that? How have you really been able to kind of translate that piece to the guys that you're coaching now that really want to go to the next level? I am sure.
Yeah, definitely. And, that's one thing that's really fun about coaching at the junior college level is these guys are so motivated to move on that, and not that the Division I level doesn't have motivated players. Of course they are. They work very hard too, but it's just maybe just a different level of maybe the finality, with the junior college player. They know that, this is not going to be my last step. And that drive that they have is fun to be around every day. And then, I hope I'm able to kind of give that experience and paint a picture of maybe what they're going to expect at the next level. And one of the biggest differences that I see is just the amount of time that you're away from the coaches at the Division I level that is left to you to get your work in, because with the NCAA rules on CARA and things, there's just not enough time to really get the amount of reps needed to continue to develop. And so that's one thing I try to, tell our guys is, right now in junior college, we can be with you. I can get down there at 11 a.m. and throw you BP and be with you for 6 hours a day, but you also need to learn to work on your own and get quality work in on your own, because that's what is a big difference at the next level for sure.
Absolutely, but that is a key to the junior college piece, that there are not those restrictions, so it really helps with development. With that in mind, do you play 2 seasons, one in the fall, one in the spring?
Yeah, so we're allowed 10 contacts in the fall, and we can play as many innings as we'd like in those 10 games. And so depending on our pitching and how many innings we have, we'll play anywhere from 12 to 16 innings. We usually play once or twice a week throughout the fall to get to those 10 games. We try to play all 10. I think some places do it a little differently. They choose to inter squad a little bit more than play outside teams. But for us, we try to play all 10 throughout the fall, and with those 12 to 16 inning games, it's almost 20 games that we get in the fall. There's scrimmages, and we're rolling innings here and there, but yeah, we get to play a lot, and it's good.
That is good. And generally speaking, about what size roster do you carry?
So that's one thing I think is very different for us here at CSM is we have right now 31 guys on our roster, and that was what we had when we started the fall. And we'd like to have a few more. We'd like to be closer to 35 with a few more pitchers, but we try to keep our numbers down because we found that like you mentioned development and stuff, and just being able to spend time with our guys. If you have, in my opinion, 40 hitters, it's nearly impossible to get the amount of reps that are needed to truly develop versus for us the goal is 20 hitters and 15 pitchers, and from day one of the fall we've got 35 guys, and we rock and roll with that, and I think that leads to some great camaraderie within the group. These guys, we've seen it this year really well as they've, by November, they've really come together as a group and are gelling well and getting to know each other, and that's fun to be around. And so yeah, I think we're very unique in that way. I don't think many other places are that way, and I see the other side of it too. It is junior college. I think it should be for opportunities for kids to play and things, but that's just how we go about it, and yeah, we keep our numbers pretty low from day one.
Hey, everyone that's able to join us this evening, thank you so much for being here. We absolutely appreciate your support of Now D1, and thank you for the support of Coach Goulding as well. If you got in late, don't worry about it. We record this space, and we're going to be able to retweet it out later in its entirety. Hey, Coach, I got to tell you, I am really impressed with that roster size, and I couldn't agree more with you. And it's kind of, I don't want to use the word unfortunate, but it's a little alarming. Sometimes you see some rosters out there that are, 45, 50, 55 guys on a team. And I think that's exciting to really be looking at 35 and below, because I think one of the big pieces for kids to go to college and play college baseball is to have an opportunity to actually play college baseball. And so I loved hearing that. I think that's just a fantastic approach. And I'm sure that the guys on the team absolutely appreciate it too, because they want to get those reps in. I think that's big time stuff.
Yeah, I think it's good. It breeds the competition amongst guys, and the last 2 years with the COVID backlog stuff was still kind of happening. We did have a much bigger roster. Last 2 years ago we had 10 third-year guys, and last year I think we had 8, and so we got to experience that too. And last year I think we had like 45 guys, and it was so hard to do the things that we wanted to do, and so now we're back to reasonable and where we like to be. So it's good.
Absolutely. I think that COVID year, that extra year is kind of, weeding itself out now slowly, but it's starting to kind of bring all the numbers back to a little bit realistic terms. Hey, certainly I want to be mindful of our core audience, which is really uncommitted prospects. They're trying to figure out how they can get an opportunity to play for you, Coach, quite honestly, and what the expectations are when they get there, maybe what some of the things are that are just different from high school baseball, and certainly travel baseball as well. And kind of where I'm going with that is you've just had a lot of success, offensively and defensively. And I'm just kind of curious as to what types of strategies or techniques that you're teaching that may be a little bit more advanced than what the guys are seeing at a high school level.
Yeah, I think for one, just the sheer reps, that's one thing I tell our guys is, there's no secret sauce. It's about hard work consistently, and being hard on yourself and holding yourself to a certain, standard of execution that, it's hard because human nature is to kind of let off the gas pedal a little bit and get complacent. But I think that ultimately that's the difference. And we had a game yesterday, a fall game, and I was talking to one of our freshman pitchers after his outing, and he was saying, he goes, yeah, if I leave the ball up just a little bit, these guys are hitting it hard. And I go, yeah, that's the difference. And he goes, in high school, after the first maybe 4 or 5 hitters, I could just throw my fastball down the middle and mix in a slider, and I would just, buzz through the bottom half of the lineup. And I go, yeah, that's common. And that's, people say all the time, as the pyramid gets to the top, the talent level gets closer and closer. And I think that's one of the major things that I've seen in the difference between high school and college, and that prospects need to be prepared for, is that the room for error becomes much less, and that means your focus level needs to raise a little bit, and you need to be focused on every pitch, because you don't get away with as many mistakes, and on the pitching side, and offensively you don't get to hit as many mistakes, right? You may get 1 or 2 in the box that versus in high school you get maybe 3 or 4. And so in terms of strategies and things, I think it's just the consistent hard work. And I don't mean to oversimplify it in that way, but I really believe it's just day in and day out getting quality reps and having a purpose, I guess, for what you're working on in that moment. I had an opportunity a few years ago. I was with when I was coaching at Northridge, and one of our other coaches there, Tony Asaro, he was there with us, and he had coached previously with Bill Mosiello. They were at Tennessee, and so, but Mo had moved to TCU, and so we picked a weekend and we went out there and watched them practice. And I remember Mo telling us, he goes, he had a saying. He said, "The most important thing that we do is what we're doing right now." And that really, I was 24 years old when I heard that, and that really stuck with me, because it made so much sense that if you do that consistently and you have something specific that you're working on all the time, that those drops in the bucket are gonna add up to an overall product on the field. So maybe it's working specifically with infielders on just our forehand today. Maybe we're working ground balls on the forehand side rather than just, hey, we're just taking ground balls. It's being specific in what you're doing, and doing that day in and day out, I think adds up.
Absolutely. Hey man, thanks again that's a fantastic answer, and all that makes sense. Sure. And I got to tell you, I was also doing just a little bit of research on you. I just kind of wanted to find out a little bit more about who you are before we started talking. And one thing that really just there's a couple things that jumped out, but one thing in particular, you've had a lot of experience coaching summer baseball, and a lot of positive experience with really good results and achievements. What is it for guys that are maybe in their freshman year of college right now? What is it that they can expect when they go and play on a summer team now?
Yeah, I think summer ball is tremendous for baseball players specifically, because, at the higher levels, baseball is an everyday game. And we try to tell our guys that, and try to get them to understand that. But it's hard in college, especially junior college. We play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, so there's days in between. And at Division I, 4-year level, you get that a little bit more, playing maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But in summer ball, it's truly that everyday grind of being able to learn a few different things. Like, number one, the mental side of that. You have a great day one night, you go 4 for 4 with 3 doubles, and you feel like King Kong. And then the next day, maybe you don't go through your pregame routine as well. You don't do your warm up, your tee routine, your talk routine as focused, and all of a sudden you get humbled and you're 0 for 4 with four punchies the next night. And so it's being able to handle the good with the bad. And I think guys really learn how to do that in summer ball, because there's no time to to either, rest on your laurels or sulk when you're not doing well. You got to get yourself ready to go the very next day. And then the physical side of that too, taking care of your body and, understanding that you got a game the next night. And that's where I really see guys grow in that area, having a year of summer ball under their belt when they come back as sophomores, or at the 4-year level, come back juniors, seniors that have played a few summers. So
absolutely. And again, thank you for walking through that. I mean, it just makes so much sense to hear someone with the experience that you have really just kind of hit on the key points. I mean, it just makes it a lot easier to understand. And I know there's a lot of kids that are out there in high school that are 10th, 11th grade, and they're trying to envision what their careers may look like and what the day-to-day may look like and what the seasons may look like. So thank you again for just kind of walking through that so they have a better understanding. And I got to tell you, Coach Goulding, this is the main thing that really popped out at me when I Googled your name. Man, I got to tell you, not only have you had a lot of athletic success and coaching success, you've had a lot of academic success. I mean, you certainly went out and got your bachelor's, but you also got a master's degree. And that's just so impressive because obviously you were a ball player at the same time while you were going through school. You realized the importance of academics. How the lessons maybe that you took upon yourself, how are you able to share those types of experiences and lessons to kind of really help your players as well balance academics and athletics?
Yeah, I think it's two things come to mind. Like number one, and maybe above all, is just the simplicity of time and priority management. That's something we talk to our guys about all the time. Is planning your week, planning your day ahead of time, and then holding yourself accountable to it. We, like I mentioned, we're 30 minutes from San Francisco, and it's pretty easy to get a bleacher ticket to a Giants game on a Tuesday night and blow off your homework. But those are the small decisions that end up adding up, and then you start playing catch up versus, hey, you want to go to a Giants game? Great, go have fun Tuesday night, but that means you got to study Monday night. You got to do your homework at some other time. And that's the biggest thing is guys that are able to do that and compartmentalize and say, hey, I got this going on this week. I've got to sacrifice some social time to really knock out these 3 papers that I've got. Those are the guys that really have success academically. And that's how, we try to help with that a lot, and planning and sticking with it. And I think that's the major thing for us. And I think that's the difference in guys having academic success and not.
Absolutely. And Coach, let me just kind of keep going along through your career. You've also had the opportunity to really coach a lot of guys who have gone on to the major leagues. They've been drafted, they've signed, they've played professionally. Kind of give us some insight as to how you saw them, the particular players, really kind of preparing themselves to get to the next level. What did that look like? What maybe set them apart?
Yeah, I actually think about that quite often, and trying to understand like what's the difference with guys that end up having those opportunities and guys that maybe don't and maybe fizzle out. And the one thing that continually comes to mind is that one of the common things I've noticed with those guys is they, for the most part, had tremendous confidence, not necessarily in their pure ability on the field, but their ability to figure things out, if that makes sense. Like, I think of a guy we had at Northridge, Justin Turner, was a left-handed outfielder, center fielder, and he was a walk-on for us there. His dad had played at Northridge, and he really wanted to be at CSUN, and so he came to us and ended up starting just about every game for 4 years. And he wasn't the best player as a freshman. He struggled, and that's one thing that I think guys need to understand is that everybody, regardless of who you are, has challenges and has struggles and has failure throughout their process. But he was one that really stuck out, and just the ability to have that self-talk that I may not be figuring this out right now, but I will at some point. And I may be, as a left-handed hitter, I may be getting carved up by left-handed pitching in the Big West right now, but I know I'm going to figure it out. And I think that's one thing that I've seen that those guys have in common. Kenny Rosenberg was a left-handed pitcher for us at Northridge who was throwing 84 as a freshman, and he would say he was out of shape. I didn't think he was that out of shape, but he would say he was, and ended up getting a back injury, and just his ability to stay with it and have that mindset that I'm going to get there someday. I don't know when that's going to be, but it's going to come. And he's been up and down in the big leagues with the Angels for a couple of years now, and I think that's really the difference is guys that have the confidence in themselves to figure it out, that really continue to, because they're going to continue to put in the work, right? Like that's what it comes down to. They don't give up. They just keep going and keep putting in the work because they truly believe that they're going to figure it out at some point, and that's fun to be around.
I think it is, and I tell you, that's really kind of leads right into the next couple of things that I really want to talk about is going to be recruiting, and that's interesting. Almost, you're kind of giving two great examples right off the bat of guys that were already at the college level, high level, and as a freshman, they still needed a lot of development, but they kept developing. And everybody's kind of on a different trajectory at a different time, and I think that will lead into us talking a little bit more about recruiting. But before we do, again, let me thank our audience for joining. Thank you so much for the support. Again, for jumping on with Now D1 Speaks. If I mentioned earlier, if you got in late, we record it because we retweet it, but we also record this because we turn it into a podcast. And that podcast is Now D1 Speaks. And our core audience is uncommitted baseball players and college coaches. And it's a great environment where prospects can come on and they can really talk about their achievements that are off the field, what kind of classes they're taking, what their GPA is, how they're working out in their weight room, how they treat teammates, classmates, how they treat their parents. Just kind of gives them this opportunity to say, hey, coach, I'm really of the right stuff. And the great thing about coaches coming on, it really kind of gives insight back to those uncommitted prospects as to, hey, this is really what it takes to kind of get to this next level. And at the same time, it gives coaches an opportunity to say, this is who I am, and this is the program that I represent. So we have found that this is really a pretty good environment. And I would certainly hope that if you enjoy conversations like this, go find us. Again, we're on every Apple, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. Now D1 Speaks is out there. I would certainly appreciate it if you would subscribe to it. So, Coach Goulding, but you know what? Before we get into the recruiting, I would really be remiss if I didn't ask you this. Hey, you're kind of wrapping up your fall season. How are you guys looking, and what's your expectation coming into the spring for this year?
Yeah, these guys have really, in the last few weeks, really figured out or are figuring out how to work day in and day out. We're a fairly young team this year, fairly inexperienced, but I really like the group that we have, and I think I was talking to them yesterday after the game. We got a chance to be pretty darn good, and we got left-handed pitching, we got right-handed pitching, we got left-handed hitting, and some right-handed hitting. So I think we're a pretty well-rounded group. But I've been mostly impressed with their ability to put in the work every day, and that's really what it's about. And the talk we had yesterday was just, we're going to win some, we're going to lose some, and the ball's going to bounce our way at times, and sometimes it's not. But if we can stay with it and play one pitch at a time, then I think we're going to be okay. And that's really my expectations for them is to be able to play every pitch with competitiveness and with intent. And, we'll let the scoreboard end up as it will from there.
Hey, that sounds pretty exciting, though. It's got to be a good feeling, kind of, especially being a young team and feeling like you're really got the athletes and you got an opportunity to do something and really build upon it. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. That makes the days a lot more fun, doesn't it?
Yeah. These guys are fun to be around. We've got a few characters, and they've got a pretty good balance of having fun, but also getting after it. And we like to kind of poke fun at each other, and it's a good vibe out there. For sure.
Absolutely. Hey, we were alluding to just a little bit earlier about recruiting, and you'd even brought up the COVID year and so forth. And man, just the overall landscape of recruiting has changed drastically just in the last couple of years. It's certainly the COVID changed the game with 6-year seniors out there and so forth. And then the transfer portal as well. And that's just created probably a new monster in and of itself. I'm curious for you, what advice would you give to uncommitted prospects and really even their families as well? What is it that they could do to kind of stand out, maybe get on your radar, that kind of thing? And then once they are on your radar, how do they stay there? And what I mean by that is, what kind of character traits do they need or so forth, just so that they don't become a kind of a turnoff to you where, it raises a red flag?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a great question. Getting on the radar, I think, is it's doing things right all the time. That's one thing that I think maybe some prospects don't quite understand is how connected we are as coaches with either their high school coach or their travel ball coach. And, we're going to do our homework on that kind of stuff off the field because, we want to bring in guys that we want to be around, that are going to be good teammates, that are going to work hard. And so we'll ask those questions to their coaches, and most coaches are honest because, and I tell our guys the same thing. If I get a call from a 4-year coach, I have to be honest with them because I have relationships with those guys. And if you're consistently late to practice and, going to the bathroom 3 times during study hall and things like that, I have to be honest. And I think, high school travel ball coaches are the same with us. And so that's probably first and foremost. And then social media has become, a really good avenue for that. I don't love it, but it's kind of the nature of the beast a little bit with Twitter and things that I think is actually a good tool to just get publicity out there and put some video out, and guys are able to find it. Coaches are, and things like that. And in terms of staying on the radar, one of the biggest things that I would recommend is if you want to go to a school and you're interested in that place, and maybe you've made contact with the coaches and they've reciprocated interest in you, make sure you stay on it, right? Like stay in contact. It doesn't have to be much. It could just be, hey coach, I just got a new PR on my deadlift last week. Little things like that. It's just to keep yourself in the forefront of those coaches' minds, because as much as I don't like it, we get busy and things are going fast, and there's things, we got practice and our guys and our development, and then the point is, if you really want to go to a place, you kind of got to take control of your own recruitment and make sure that you're staying up with that, because I've never met a coach that doesn't want guys that want to go to his school. So that's one thing that if you want to go there, you got to kind of keep with it and stay on it, and be the squeaky wheel a little bit, until maybe the coach will say, hey, we don't have a spot for you, etc. But stay with it and keep ownership of your own recruiting, I think, is the biggest advice I can give.
I think that's great advice, especially about the squeaky wheel. And you know what? Sometimes it's not a bad thing to hear, we don't have a spot for you. You're better off to know it, that's not an opportunity, so that you can move on to other opportunities than just sit there hoping that it's going to work out. I think that's great advice all the way around. Okay, Coach. Well, I got to tell you, that really kind of leads right into your current situation, being a coach at a junior college. Not only are you on the road recruiting new prospects to come in to fill your roster, you've also got a high level of urgency to see your guys moving on to the next level as well. How involved are you and your coaches in that part of the recruiting?
Oh, that's, a huge, huge, huge aspect for us. And the one thing that, I kind of try to organize my mind and my days is in three ways. Like I feel like if we're recruiting, developing, and transferring, then we're doing our jobs as junior college coaches. And so that's kind of where I try to keep my focus is on those three things. And that's daily. That's, on a sticky note on my desk. I'm like, am I doing those three things at a high level? Like we're recruiting the next group, developing our group, and working hard on getting guys out that are going to be fits for them too. I think that's one of the biggest things that we try to do is we have a ton of conversations with our guys on, what are you looking for? Obviously, everybody wants to go to Division I and play in the SEC and play in the Power Five, and of course that's great. We want that for them too, but we try to get into the specifics of, do you want a private school, a small school, a big school? Are you 100% set on a school that has football? Those types of things that we have those conversations constantly, and we'll do a few like goal setting things with our sophomores and guys that are able to transfer out, and we'll pick a school and say, all right, like you want to go to I don't know, San Diego State? Great. Let's figure out how we're going to get there, and here are the steps we need to take to get there, and we'll do our best to help keep you on that path. And but I think it's coming up with a plan. First of all, we've got some guys that say, I absolutely want to get out of California. Okay, great. We can have those conversations with four-year coaches when we get those calls and say, hey man, it might be an uphill battle for you. You're in California, and he wants to leave California, and vice versa. Some guys that I absolutely want to stay in California. So those types of things that we're constantly doing. But I try to keep myself accountable to those three things. Recruit, develop, and transfer. I think those are the three biggest things that we can do here, and that's a major part of what we're doing.
Sounds like it. And I just got to tell you, I think there's just so many advantages to junior college. And, and I think it's just remarkable that you took the junior college route. You had an opportunity to coach outside, Division I, 4-year institutions, and you made a decision to come back to your, like I said earlier, your stomping grounds. I think you really see the advantages of junior college as well. I mean, if you're making a pitch, to a kid, what is that pitch? What's the draw to say, hey, come to CSM?
Well, I think for sure the development, like we mentioned earlier, there's the sheer time that we're able to put in with coaches, with one-on-one work, and team practice. Yeah, that's great. We're going to get better in team practice, but in my opinion, true development, whether that's on the mound or with an infielder, outfielder, catcher, hitter, is in those one-on-one situations where you can really spend even 30 minutes with one guy. He's going to get 50 swings, and it's coordinated and with a coach. I think that's a major part of it. The other part is our freshmen and sophomores here in high-level junior college are not that dissimilar from most freshmen and sophomores at four-year schools. The difference is juniors and seniors are 22, 23 years old. That, by then, those guys, that makes the overall level of play much higher. And I think sometimes that can get lost in with all the information that prospects get. And, they see, these guys on TV that are freshman All-Americans and things like that. And there are definitely some of that. But that's a very, very small percentage of college freshmen that are doing things like that. And so being able to compete against guys that are closer to your age, almost, especially now with the COVID stuff being pretty much done at junior college, is everybody on the field is 18 to 20 years old, and you're not trying to compete against a 23-year-old man like you do at the 4-year level. And so I think those two things are huge. And then a lot of guys need a year or two just in terms of physical development. And that was me coming out of high school, where I had some ability and stuff, and could play some defense, but I just wasn't strong enough to compete at the 4-year level yet against grown-ups. Being 18 years old and still growing into my body and things that I think that's a huge thing for the junior college route. And on top of that, the quality of baseball is very good throughout California and throughout the country. Really, in junior college, there's some very high level baseball being played, and sometimes I think it's funny when I hear kids say, "Well, if it doesn't work out, I'll just go to junior college." And I kind of smile a little bit. Like, oh, you just okay, all right, yeah, I got you. But I think it's a great way to kind of ease into college. You're not jumping into a huge school with 30,000 students, and not every school is like that, of course, with private schools and things, but academically it gives you that ability to kind of get your general ed done and get that under your belt before maybe you're not quite sure what you want to major in yet. That's a really good path for junior college, that you can get that out of the way, and after a year or two you understand what you want to do a little bit better before you jump into those upper division classes. So I really think it's a great route for a lot of kids, for sure.
I got to tell you, it's a great pitch, and the reality of it is, it's not a pitch; it's the truth. And I know you don't know this. Well, maybe you do know it, but I'm located in Florida, and junior college baseball in Florida is unbelievably good. I mean, it is remarkably good. And one of the things that always catches my attention, in many ways, I feel like the guys that go junior college, they kind of keep the advantage on their side. They still have their options open. It gives them the opportunity, if they are a high level guy, man, you're still eligible for the draft after your freshman year. You can start looking at other opportunities of where it is that you want to go to school if you want to continue to pursue a degree. And to your point, it gives you an opportunity to get a degree really at a lesser cost as well. And just tremendous advantages to junior college. So, and I got to tell you, Coach, I have thoroughly enjoyed this evening. I mean, I just think that, you absolutely know what you're talking about, and you've got the track record to prove it. And I think you're a great representative of the institution that you're coaching right now. You've got a program that's on the rise. You're excited about young talent making a good run this year and what's going to lead to next year as well. And it just sounds like you're absolutely doing everything the right way. I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. And I got to tell you, you really gave a lot of good advice to our core audience out there that's trying to figure out how they can get to the next level. And I know I'm appreciative of that. And I know there's a lot of families and lives that you will have absolutely touched. So thank you very, very much for taking some time out just to jump on the phone with us and to educate us just a little bit. We certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. This was a good time, and I think like you said, I'm hoping to help in any way that I can, and hopefully, if my experience can help somebody learn a little bit more about the process, then I'm happy to share anytime. And I'm just trying to keep on keeping on, in the wise words of Joe Dirt, right? And so, but no, I appreciate you having me, and it was definitely fun, and I'm glad I could help in any way.
Absolutely. And again, thank you so much. And man, I absolutely wish you the best of success, and certainly the College of San Mateo as well. So again, thank you very much for being here. And with that, I think we'll say good night.
All righty. Thank you.
Hey, let me ask you something. Are you ready to dominate at the plate this season? Blast Baseball is the #1 hitting improvement solution, trusted by more major league, college, and travel ball teams than any other. The Blast sensor attaches to the knob of any bat, providing real-time feedback with every swing. Metrics are automatically sent to a smartphone app, generating insights that allow you to analyze and improve your hitting like never before. Go to blastmotion.com and enter code NOWD1, and you will save $25 at checkout. Unlock your potential with Blast.